Quitting has a cost. Most people don't calculate. Continuing has a cost. Everyone can say. Quitting feels like relief in the immediate frame. Feels like putting down the weight. Feels like ending the pain. Feels like the reasonable and intelligent choice. Feels like finally listening to the body's voice. But quitting has a long bill that arrives the morning after. Has the quiet cost of the identity and the chapter that didn't get written. Has the compound of the not done. Quitting turns out harder than the continuing when the accounting's right. I used to calculate the cost of continuing and miss the cost of quit. Harder to quit than to continue once I ran the full audit. Harder to quit than to continue when you run the real math. Harder to quit than to continue when you look down the path of both directions and you see what each one cost in full. Harder to quit than to continue. That's the mental tough pull through the hardest part of the session. Harder to quit. That's the lesson. Continuing costs the discomfort of the present and the now. Quitting costs the compound of the future and the how I feel about myself the morning and the year after. Quitting costs the narrative, the story, and the chapter that would have been. Cost the version of myself I would have meant. Harder to quit than to continue. That's the real offset. Now I run the full cost of the quitting before I choose the stop. Harder to quit than to continue. That's what keeps me at the top. I used to calculate the cost of continuing and miss the cost of quit. Harder to quit than to continue once I ran the full audit. Harder to quit than to continue when you run the real math. Harder to quit than to continue when you look down the path of both directions and you see what each one cost in full. Harder to quit than to continue. That's the mental tough pull through the hardest part of the session. Harder to quit. That's the lesson. Harder to quit than to continue. Keep going. Five seconds is all the hesitation gets. After five, the body moves. Go. The body moves. Hey, hey. The hesitation window is the most expensive real estate in the mental tough's architecture. That's the gate where the negotiation happens, where the voice gets in, where the reasons stack up and the reasons always win. If you give them long enough to build that case for staying still. 5 seconds is the limit that I give the hesitation's bill. 5 seconds to prison its case and then the body moves. 5-second rule is how the mental tough removes. I used to give the hesitation all the time it has to take. 5-second rule. Left to 5, the body moves for its own sake. 5-second rule. The hesitation gets 5 counts. After 5, the body moves regardless of the amount of reasons still presenting in the hesitation's queue. 5-second rule. 5 seconds is what I give to you. Then I move. Then I go. 5-second rule. The body overrides the slow. Learn the hesitation is the most dangerous it sustains state, because the longer it runs, the more the reasons accumulate into something that feels like wisdom when it's actually the stall. The 5-second window closes, hesitation tall. Before it fully opens, the body's already in motion. Before the reasons finish building their devotion to the staying, to the stopping, to the choosing not to go. 5-second rule, after 5 the body says no more slow. I used to give the hesitation all the time it has to take. 5-second rule, after 5 the body moves for its own sake. 5-second rule, the hesitation gets 5 counts. After 5 the body moves regardless of the amounts of reasons still presenting in the hesitation's queue. 5-second rule, 5 seconds is what I give to you. Then I move, then I go. 5-second rule, the body overrides the slow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Body moves. Storms loud, I'm louder inside. Everything outside the window of the moment is moving fast. Every signal in the environment says nothing's gonna last. In the current configuration, everything is shifting and loud. Every piece of information coming in through the crowd says adjust, says react, says the ground is no longer where it was, says the certain has become uncertain, says it does what it always does in the storm, says panic is the move, steady in the storm is the mental tough's only groove. I used to let the storm's volume set the speed that I moved at, steady in the storm. The storm doesn't get to do that. Steady in the storm. The storm gets loud, I get quiet. Steady in the storm. I don't participate in the riot of the panic and the urgency and the noise of the break. Steady in the storm. That's the mental tough take. Storm loud, I stay clear. Steady in the storm. That's the gear. Practice the steady in the smaller storms first. Build the muscle of the calm, deliberate response through every hustle and every disruption that arrived in manageable size. Before the large one tested everything behind the eyes. Now the large ones come and find a steady already installed. Not because the storm is small, but because I've already called upon a practice calm and found it there when I need it most. Steady in the storm, it's the mental tough coast. I used to let the storm's volume set the speed that I moved at, steady in the storm. The storm doesn't get to do that. Steady in the storm. The storm gets loud, I get quiet. Steady in the storm. I don't participate in the riot of the panic and the urgency and the noise of the break. Steady in the storm. That's the mental tough take. Storm loud, I stay clear. Steady in the storm. That's the gear. Steady in the storm. Loud, loud, I'm clear. External scoreboard doesn't always tell the truth. The internal one never lies. Never lies. The external scoreboard said the session was numbers were below the target, below the usual trail of output, below what the metrics said was a good day. External scoreboard called it a loss and had it say, but the scoreboard in my head was running different math. Counted the showing up through the fog as a different path. Counted the 2 extra reps I didn't have to do. The scoreboard in my head gave a different review. I used to let the external scoreboard write the final verdict. The scoreboard in my head is the only one that's worth it. The scoreboard in my head counts different things. Counts the showing up, counts the fighting through the stings of the difficult and the hard and the far below the best. The scoreboard in my head passes what the external test would fail, because it counts the real. The scoreboard in my head, that's the deal. External scoreboard is a tool, but it's an incomplete one. Doesn't count the weight of the conditions that the session ran upon. Doesn't count the personal context. Doesn't count the load that arrived before the session and got added to the road. The scoreboard in my head knows all of that, runs a full math of what today actually required against the path I took through it, and the verdict is usually more generous than the external metric. Moron is more serious than the external scoreboard. Right, the final verdict. The scoreboard in my head is the only one that's worth it. The scoreboard in my head counts different things. Counts the showing up, counts the fighting through the stings of the difficult and the hard and the far below the best. The scoreboard in my head passes what the external test would fail, because it counts the real. The scoreboard in my head, that's the deal. Scoreboard in my head counts what's real. Same facts, different frame, different outcome. The facts don't change, but the frame around them changes everything. Same obstacle is either a wall or the door the discipline brings to the situation. Same failure is either the end or the data for the next attempt. Depends on the lens I hold it through. The mental top is mostly about the lens. Reframe or retreat is the choice that everything depends upon. In the moment that the pressure is the loudest, reframe or retreat, that's where the mental tough is proudest. I used to take the obstacle at face value and retreat. Reframe or retreat. The reframe is what builds the mental faith. Reframe or retreat. I reframe every time. Same wall becomes the thing I'm meant to climb. Same failure becomes the lesson I require. Reframe or retreat. I choose a reframe, I'm not retired from the obstacle, I'm through it. Reframe or retreat. I always choose to do it. Not pretending that the hard thing isn't hard, that's not the move. The reframe doesn't deny the difficulty, it removes the interpretation that the difficulty means stop. The reframe says the difficulty's exactly where to drop your full attention, where to bring the complete resource. Reframe or retreat, mental tough chooses the course that goes through, not around, not back, not away. Reframe or retreat, I reframe every single day. I used to take the obstacle at face value and retreat. Reframe or retreat. The reframe is what builds the mental feat. Reframe or retreat. I reframe every time. Same wall becomes a thing I'm meant to climb. Same failure becomes the lesson I require. Reframe or Something goes wrong. Reset protocol activates. Move on. Session falls apart midway. The plan stops working at rep 3. The race goes wrong at kilometer 4. The days off the degree I calibrated for before I started. Something's broken from the script. Used to let the broken session take the whole day with the slip. Into the spiral of the one bad thing becoming everything. Now I have a reset protocol, a single session ceiling on how long a failure gets to run before the reset clears. Reset protocol. That's the mental tough years. I used to let the bad session write the rest of the day's story. Reset protocol, name it, learn it, reset, move to glory. Reset protocol, the session doesn't define the next. Reset protocol, the failure doesn't get to infect. The hours that come after it gets a window and that's all. Reset protocol, name it, extract it, let it fall into the closed, into the past. Reset protocol, this session doesn't last. The protocol is simple, name what went wrong, know what to change. Extract the lesson, close the tab and let the rest rearrange into a clean beginning and into a fresh attempt. Into the next session starting from zero, not carrying the text of the previous one's failure into everything ahead. Reset protocol runs clean forward, clear of the dead weight of the bad session forward into what comes next. Reset protocol, mental tough's best text. I used to let the bad session write the rest of the day's story. Reset protocol, name it, learn it, reset, move to glory. Reset protocol, the session doesn't define the next. Reset protocol, the failure doesn't get to infect. The hours that come after it gets a window and that's all. Reset protocol, name it, extract it, let it fall into the clouds, into the past. Reset protocol, this session doesn't last. Reset protocol, extract, move forward. There's the one feeling it, and the one watching the one feeling it. The second one runs the show. Learn to split the mind into the one who's in the feeling and the one who watches the one in the feeling. From the ceiling of the room, the observer looking down without the heat of the immediate, without the panic of the beat, dropping out without the urgency of all the noise. The observer and the participant, two distinct voices, one inside the storm, one watching the one in the storm. The observer stays clear and that changes the norm. I used to be entirely inside the feeling with no view. The observer and the participant, the observer gets me through. The observer and the participant running at the same time, one inside the pressure, one watching from outside. The participant feels everything, the observer stays clear. The observer and the participant, situations that got hard. Practice stepping back in mind while the body's still on guard against the difficulty. While the participant is deep in the challenge, practice the observer taking the lead. To the above view, the outside view, the what is actually true view of the situation, past the feeling running through the participant's experience. Now the split is automatic. The observer and the participant, that's the mental tough static. I used to be entirely inside the feeling with no view. The observer and the participant. The observer gets right through. The observer and the participant running at the same time. One inside the pressure, one watching from outside. The participant feels everything. The observer stays clear. The observer and the participant, that's the mental tough frontier. Don't drown in the feeling. The observer keeps the ceiling. Observer and participant. Observer stays clear. When everything else drifts, the anchor throws. When the session gets hard enough, the mind starts looking for exits. When the pressure peaks enough, the thinking starts to show its deficits of clarity. Starts reaching for any thought that lets it go. Starts cycling through the reasons and the arguments below. The standard, that's the moment for the anchor thought to land. One clear, unchanging thing I hold in my hand. Inside my head, one sentence, one image, one code. Anchor thought, that's how the mental tough holds the road. I used to let the mind drift where the pressure sent it flying. Anchor thought keeps the heading while the difficulties trying. Anchor thought, one thing I return to when the rest gets loud. Anchor thought cuts through the noise inside the crowd of the doubt and the fatigue and the arguments for stop. Anchor thought, that's the mental tough snug drop. One clear thing holds the line. Anchor thought every single time. Chose the anchor thought deliberately before the session starts. Chose it when the clarity is clean before the pressure parts. From the reasonable into the overwhelming, chose it cold, so that when the heat comes, I already know what I hold. Onto no decision needed in the middle of the burn. Just the anchor thought already placed, already in the turn, waiting for the moment that the mind needs something real. Anchor thought, that's a mental tough steel. I used to let the mind drift where the pressure sent it flying. Anchor thought keeps the heading while the difficulties trying. Anchor thought, one thing I return to when the rest gets loud. Anchor thought cuts through the noise inside the crowd of the doubt and the fatigue and the arguments for stop. Anchor thought, that's the mental tough snug drop. One clear thing holds the line. Anchor thought every single time. The pressure peaks, the thinking clears. That's the goal. when the environment is blinking loud and pushing for the reaction and the snap. Clarity under fire is the mental tough gap. I used to get less clear when the pressure was the highest. Clarity under fire. Train the thinking to be finest. Clarity under fire. Thinking sharpens at the peak. Clarity under fire. Not the moment that I'm weak. Not the moment that the noise drops out the signal and the clear. Clarity under fire. That's the mental tough frontier. Pressure up. Thinking sharp. Clarity under fire. From the start. Trained it in the sessions by deliberately adding noise, adding complexity mid-session, adding difficult decoys to the task while maintaining the primary thread. Train the thinking to stay clean through the overhead of the distracting and the difficult arriving at the same time. Train the clarity to hold its edge right at the prime. Pressure moment, train it until the reflex was the clear. Clarity under fire. That's what I built here. Used to get less clear when the pressure was the highest. Clarity under fire. Train the thinking to be finest. Clarity under fire. Thinking sharpens at the peak. Clarity under fire. Not the moment that I'm weak. Not the moment that the noise drops out the signal and the clear. Clarity under fire. That's the mental tough frontier. Pressure up. Thinking sharp. Clarity under fire. From the start. Didn't remove the discomfort. Made the discomfort familiar. Didn't get tough by avoiding what was hard until it left. Got tough by repeating what was hard until I was deaf. At the navigation of the discomfort until the floor of what I found uncomfortable. Move further from the door of the familiar until what used to shake me at the base was just a Tuesday, just a session, just a standard pace. Comfortable with uncomfortable isn't a feeling. It's a track record of showing up to discomfort until discomfort gets remastered. I used to wait until the discomfort passed to do the work. Comfortable with uncomfortable. That's the mental tough spark. Comfortable with uncomfortable. The discomfort didn't leave. Comfortable with uncomfortable. I just stopped needing to believe that the comfort had to come first before I could begin. Comfortable with uncomfortable. That's the state I'm in. Not gone, just familiar. Comfortable with uncomfortable. That's the mirror. Every time I ran toward the thing that made the session hard. Every time I chose the harder variation of the card. I was already holding every rep past the comfortable end. Added to the track record of navigating around the bend of the discomfort until the bend was just a corner. And the corner was just a turn. And the turn was just a former obstacle rebranded into texture of the route. Comfortable with uncomfortable, that's what mental tough's about. I used to wait until the discomfort passed to do the work. Comfortable with uncomfortable. That's the mental tough spark. Comfortable with uncomfortable. The discomfort didn't leave. Comfortable with uncomfortable. I just stopped needing to believe that the comfort had to come first before I could begin. Comfortable between the stimulus and the response. There is a space. That space is everything. Used to fire the response before the stimulus had settled. Every provocation met immediately at full metal. No gap between the trigger and the thing I did or said. No space between the feeling and the action in my head. Found out all the damage happened in that zero gap. Found out everything I wanted to undo was in that snap. Decision to react instead of choose what to do. Control response is the whole mental game, that's the view. I used to let the stimulus decide what I would do. Control response. That space between is where I'm built. No control response. I own the space between the trigger and the action. The feeling and the scene I play out in the moment. I choose what leaves my hands. Controlled response. That's where the mental tough stands. Not the reaction. The choice. Controlled response. That's my voice. Train the gap deliberately, made it wider every week. Made it long enough to ask the question of what I see from the response before I gave it. What's the actual goal? Is the thing I'm about to do or say in service of the whole of what I'm building? Or is it just a feeling seeking out the fastest exit from the discomfort of the down? Now the gap is wide enough to fit a question and a choice. Control response, that's the mental tough real voice. Used to let the stimulus decide what I would do. Control response. That space between is where I'm built. No control response. I own the space between the trigger and the action. The feeling and the scene I play out in the moment. I choose what leaves my hands. Control response. That's where the mental tough stands. Not the reaction. The choice. Control response. That's my voice. Controlled response. Own the space. Not a single stop. A signal to ring. Discomfort used to mean the same thing every single time. Get away from it, remove it. It was always just a sign that something was wrong, that the situation needed to end, that the reasonable response was always around the bend. Away from the discomfort, never through it, never in. Then I flipped the reading and the whole thing changed within the session. Discomfort became a data point to read, not a verdict to obey, just information that I need. I used to let the discomfort give the orders in the room. Discomfort is data. I read it now, I don't assume. Discomfort is data. What is it actually saying? Is this a real warning or is this the body delaying the work with unnecessary caution? Is this stop or go? Discomfort is data. I read it now, I know. Not a verdict, an input. Discomfort is data, that's the output. discomfort that protects and the discomfort that's just resistance. Wearing safety checks as a costume. Learn the difference in the quality of the signal. The sharp specific versus the generally uncomfortable feeling of doing hard things past the edge of comfortable. That second kind I take as an acknowledgement that the work is in the right place, that the growth is in the burn. Discomfort is data, that's the mental tough learn. I used to let the discomfort give the orders in the room. Discomfort is data. I read it now, I don't assume. Discomfort is data. What is it actually saying? Is this a real warning or is this the body delaying the work with unnecessary caution? Is this stop or go? Discomfort is data. I read it now, I know. Not a verdict, an input. Discomfort is data, that's the output. That's the output. That's the output. Discomfort is data. Name the fear exactly. Watch it get smaller. Fear lives in the vague, fear dies in the specific. Vague fear is enormous, specific fear is terrific. Get shrink into a manageable and answerable size. Once you pull it from the fog and put it in plain light. Name the worst case, name it exactly, write it down. And the probability of the worst case coming around. Name what you do if it did arrive. Name the recovery. Your setting is the mental tough's most honest discovery. I used to let the vague fear fill the whole room unchecked. Fear setting cuts it down to size. Puts fear to the test. Fear setting, name the fear exactly what it is. Fear setting, put it in the light and watch it fade. Down from enormous to the manageable and real. Fear setting is the mental tough's most honest deal. Name it, size it, answer it. Fear setting, that's the opposite of quit. Worst case is almost never as catastrophic as the vague. Worst case named and answer loses most of the opaque. Terror of the undefined, the formless monster in the dark. Specific worst case in the light, it's just a mark on the map that has a route around it or through it, or a plan for recovery if it occurs. And having that plan ran through the mind in advance removes the power of the fear. Fear setting is the mental tough's most useful frontier. I used to let the vague fear fill the whole room unchecked. Fear setting cuts it down to size. Put fear to the test. Fear setting, name the fear exactly what it is. Fear setting, put it in the light and watch it fade. Down from enormous to the manageable and real. Fear setting is the mental tough's most honest deal. Name it, size it, answer it. Fear setting, that's the opposite of quit. Already decided. Mine can complain from the backseat. decisions get made before the morning, and they hold through whatever condition the morning actually unfolds into. The mind doesn't get a fresh vote every single day on the things that are already decided, already in play. As the standard, as the code, as the non-negotiable list of what happens before the mind gets the chance to assist with the reasons why today is the exception to the rule. Mind doesn't get a vote on this one. That's the tool. I used to give the morning mind a vote, it always cast as no. Mind doesn't get a vote on this one. Decided, let's go. Mind doesn't get a vote on this one. Already done, already in the system, already in the run. The morning mind is not the committee that decides. Mind doesn't get a vote on this one. Mind just rides. Already locked, already set. Mind doesn't get a vote. No regret. No regret. The mind's a great deliberator when deliberation is the task, but deliberation every morning is the wrong thing to ask of the discipline, because the discipline already chose, and the morning mind is always gonna vote the way that goes. For the comfort, for the warmth, for the 5 more minutes more. So I remove the vote entirely from the morning's role. Now the morning just executes what the better version said. Mind doesn't get a vote on this one. No debate, no bet. I used to give the morning mind a vote, it always cast as no. Mind doesn't get a vote on this one. Decided, let's go. Mind doesn't get a vote on this one. Already done, already in the system, already in the run. The morning mind is not the committee that decides. Mind doesn't get a vote on this one. Mind just rides. Already locked, already set. Mind doesn't get a vote. No regret. No regret. Mind doesn't get a vote. Already decided. If I said out loud what I say to myself, I'd never say it again. Caught the inner monologue mid-sentence in the session. Heard the language I was using and it needed an intervention. Said the kind of thing to myself that I never say out loud to another person in the room. Said it under the crowd of my own thoughts, like it was normal, like it was just the air that runs between the reps when nobody else is there. Held it up to the light and read exactly what it was. Self-talk on the record changes everything, because I was running commentary I wouldn't say to a friend. Self-talk on the record. Time to make the language bend. Self-talk on the record. Would I say this to someone else? Self-talk on the record. Pull the transcript off the shelf and read it like a stranger reading someone else's head. Self-talk on the record. Change the language of what's said inside the session, inside the climb. Self-talk on the record. One word at a time. Yeah, didn't replace the honest with the hollow or the fake. Just replace the language of the verdict with the language of the take on information. Replaced, I can't with not yet. Replaced, I'm done with 2 more. And replace this is as good as it gets. With this is the current flow, which is a different kind of true. Self-talk on the record. Chase the mental tough review of every session, every obstacle, every hard mile run. Self-talk on the record. That's the mental tough foundation. I was running commentary commentary I wouldn't say to a friend. Self-talk on the record. Time to make the language bend. Self-talk on the record. Would I say this to someone else? Self-talk on the record. Pull the transcript off the shelf and read it like a stranger reading someone else's head. Self-talk on the record. Change the language of what's said. Inside the session, inside the climb. Self-talk on the record. One word at a time. Self-talk on the record. Change the language. Two narratives available at all times. Which one gets fed decides everything. Two narratives running simultaneously in every room. One says the obstacle is proof that things are heading to doom. One says the obstacle is exactly what the chapter needs. One says the evidence confirms the doubt. One says it leads for the proof of the capacity to handle what arrives. One narrative is the one that quits. One's the one that survives. Everything depends on which one I put the attention and the words. The narrative I feed is the narrative that's heard. I used to let the loud narrative run without a check. The narrative I feed is the one I have to select. The narrative I feed grows and the other one recedes. The narrative I starve dies of lack of what it needs. Too available at all times, too competing for the air. The narrative I feed is the only one that's there. Feed the right one, starve the wrong. The narrative I feed becomes the song. Becomes the song. Learn to catch the feeding happening in real time in the session. Learn to notice when the wrong narrative was getting the attention of the inner monologue. The running commentary track that plays beneath every action. Learn to redirect it back to the narrative that builds instead of the one that breaks. The narrative I feed is every mental tough thing it takes to finish the session, to hold the standard and not retreat. The narrative I feed is the one I choose to meet. I used to let the louder narrative run without a check. The narrative I feed is the one I have to select. The narrative I feed grows and the other one recedes. The narrative I starve dies of lack of what it needs. Too available at all times, too competing for the air. The narrative I feed is the only one that's there. Feed the right one, starve the wrong. The narrative I feed becomes the song. years, trying to eliminate the pressure from the day. Manage it, reduce it, find a way to keep the weight away. Then I noticed every significant improvement that I'd made happened under pressure, happened in the years that didn't fade. Into the comfortable, happened when the stakes were real, when the consequence was sitting in the room and I could feel the actual weight of it against the choice I had to make. The pressure is the point, pressure is what's at stake. I used to treat the pressure like a problem to be solved. The pressure is the point. The pressure is how I've evolved. The pressure is the point, not the problem, not the threat. The pressure is the environment, the mental tough gets set. Inside of where the adaptation happens, where the growth. The pressure is the point, I need the pressure, I need both. The comfortable and the tested. The pressure is the point, I've never rested. Diamond needs the pressure of the earth to become diamond. Carbon under easy conditions stays exactly carbon aligned. With the ordinary, pressure is the transformation force. Now I walk into the pressure like I'm walking toward the source of the next upgrade, the next level of what I can hold. The pressure is the point and the point is worth more than gold. Every high pressure season built the version standing here. The pressure is the point, that's why I don't fear. I used to treat the pressure like a problem to be solved. The pressure is the point. The pressure is how I've evolved. The pressure is the point, not the problem, not the threat. The pressure is the environment, the mental tough gets set. Inside of where the adaptation happens, where the growth. The pressure is the point, I need the pressure, I need both. The comfortable and the tested. The pressure is the point, I never rested. Pressure is the point, not the problem. The story I tell while it's happening becomes the experience I have of it. Two people in the same hard session telling different stories. One says this is breaking me, one says this is the glory of the work. Same session, same weight, same burning in the legs, same 200 meters left in the same internal bag. Story to end, but the story that runs underneath the fact is the thing that determines what the experience gives back. Tell the story of the suffering and the suffering expands. Tell the story of the building and the building lands. I used to let the hardest story be the one that ran the session. The story I tell while it's happening is the most important lesson. The story I tell while it's happening is the session I experience. The story I tell while it's happening determines the appearance of the difficulty, the size of it, the weight of what I'm in. The story I tell while it's happening is where I choose to win. Tell it right, tell it strong. The story I tell while it's happening all along. Nah, lying to myself about the difficulty that's real. Not pretending that the hard thing doesn't hurt the way I feel. Just narrating the same facts through a different kind of lens. The same burn is either this is killing me or this is where street begins. Same objective experiences, two completely different rides. The story I tell while it's happening is which one I reside inside for the duration. Which one shapes the memory? The story I tell while it's happening is who I'll be. I used to let the hardest story be the one that ran the session. The story I tell while it's happening is the most down every argument for stopping, dressed in logic in the crown of reasonableness. The voice knows exactly what to say, knows the body's language, knows the timing, knows the way to make the quitting sound like wisdom, sound like knowing when to stop. The voice in the 6 mile is where the mental work gets copped. I used to negotiate with the voice and lose the deal. The voice in the 6th mile is where the mental tough gets real. The voice in the 6th mile says stop, I say mile 7. The voice in the 6th mile says enough, I say 11. Everything the voice argues is a test I've seen before. The voice in the 6th mile, I know what you're here for. Not stopping, not today. The voice in the 6th mile doesn't get a say. Learn the voice of script by heart across the years of runs. Learn the exact mile it shows up. Learn the word to use is once it settles into the session and decides it's time to speak. Learn that naming it removes the power that it seeks over the decision. Learn that knowing it's the voice and not the body, not the truth restores the actual choice. Now I hear it, name it, nod, and take another stride. The voice in the 6th mile lost the day I chose my side. I used to negotiate with the voice and lose the deal. The voice in the 6th mile is where the mental tough gets real. The voice in the 6th mile says stop, I say mile 7. The voice in the 6th mile says enough, I say 11. Everything the voice argues is a test I've seen before. The voice in the 6th mile, I know what you're here for. Not stopping, not today. The voice in the 6th mile doesn't get a say. Mile 6 voice shows up. I get going. 2% left in the tank. That's enough. 2% left. 2% left and the body's done the math already. 2% left and the legs are cooperating steady. 2% is what the mental holds above the physical's claim. That nothing's left, the body and the mind don't run the same. Accounting system body declares bankruptcy early. Mind knows there's 2% left and 2% clearly is enough to finish what I started, enough to make the line. 2% left and the mental top says that's mine. I used to trust the body's early math and stop before the end. 2% left is where the mental tough begins to bend. 2% left, the body says it's done. 2% left, the mind says one more run. Everything the body's shutting down is still negotiable here. 2% left, that's exactly what I need to clear. The finish, the rep, the set. 2% left, and the mental isn't done yet.